get better at FC25. Now, before you skip ahead, what if I told you if you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money? That's the Nil Guys guarantee. We got in-depth tutorials that are not even on the YouTube channel. We show you the theory of something and we show you gameplay examples in a structured format. We also go over real-life football examples that apply to the game and exclusive pro gameplay analysis, full gameplay analysis to elevate your game. We teach you everything from the basics to the meta. Come join at patreon.com/Nil Guys. Links down below in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. That's the Nil Guys guarantee. Links down below in the description. What's going on, boys? Nil Guys here. We're going to go over the best camera angles in FC25. I know you just want to skip to the point so you can see the best camera angle, but if you actually want to see a comparison of all the camera angles and the real benefits, I have a video on my Patreon series, patreon.com/Nil Guys. But the best camera angle, and people used to always say to me, oh, but pros don't use it. Yes, they do. In fact, you're seeing more and more pros use it, is the crop camera angle. Now, this is why this is so important, is you see the entire pitch. And this is what will turn your level completely different. Is like, for example, like you see, for example, like here, I can see my strikers, right? But then if I use a camera angle, for example, let's say I use something, let's just say hypothetically, I use something like telly, for example. Do you see, I can't see the strikers. So when I win the ball back and I get the ball off the player, I don't know where my strikers are. And that means that I got to glance at the radar. Now, when you're a top tier player, it's completely fine. You can glance at the radar. Even I glance at the radar a lot, but I still use the crop camera angle because even though you don't think about it, peripherally, your mind will have a map of where the players are. You will know roughly where the players are visually, and it would help you defend. In fact, if you're using precision shooting and you're using, or you're strong with defending, it's actually easier. Now, you might say in the beginning, oh, it's difficult. But you see, because the camera angle is so straight, if I move my left analog stick, for example, to the bottom left, it's always going to go there. In fact, defending is easier because the camera angle is flat and it's straight. If you use another camera angle, let's say, for example, we want to go into particular, let's say we use a tele broadcast, for example, right? Broadcast, you can see side on. So when you're aiming, you have to aim side on as well. It doesn't make sense to your brain. It actually makes it more difficult. Although you might be using it already, trust me, change it. Now, tactical is a good one, but I think it's too zoomed out and I think it's a bit too angled, as you can see. And then you have telly. Now, the benefit telly broadcast, as you can see, is angled, and that's why I don't recommend it. Telly is not a bad shout either. But what's one thing that's so important is adjusting the zoom. Now, the height is the most important thing. You can see the lower you go, the more flat it becomes. The higher you go, the further up you sit, the more bird's eye view and a better view. So if you want to have a better perception between the players, you want the camera to have as much height as possible. I wish you could even have it beyond 20. So that's what I recommend. Now, let's say you use co-op. You're like, you know what, Neil? I would love to use co-op, but for me, it's just too far away. Don't worry, you can just set the zoom automatically and you can zoom into 20 and then you can see you've got like a telly kind of style. You're just a bit more zoomed out than telly and you can have that system. So it's important. Now, this is also very important. If you reach your arm out right now, maybe if you're sitting, hopefully you're sitting to your monitor, but if you're not, reach your arm out. If you can reach your arm out in full arm's length and you can see your monitor, then in my opinion, you should be using zero zoom. If you're playing downstairs, you're playing in your living room and you got a big TV, a 40-inch, 65-inch, then you may need to zoom in because you may be sitting further back. So the argument really lands. This is why I'm trying to say it's like tactics. You got to adjust it yourself. As I said, it's like driving a car, guys. When you drive a car, let's say you share the car with the missus. Do you have the same seat position? No, you don't. You got different legs. One's taller, one's not. One's short, one's got short hands. So adjust it for yourself. So I would recommend 20 height and zero zoom. Co-op, I think it's the best camera angle. More and more pros are going back to it. It's not like they never use it. Most pros have used co-op camera angle. It also depends kind of maybe in a 5-back formation, it can be more useful. But otherwise, ball tracking speed is a very good thing. Perception to make the game feel fast. This is a Nil Guys top tip, right? A lot of people, they like believing in nonsense. So if you like believing in nonsense and you feel like, you know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but some people genuinely believe that co-op camera angle makes the game slower. Honestly, it's ridiculous I'm even going over this. But of course, when the camera angle is zoomed out, the game feels slower. But if you increase the ball tracking speed, whenever the ball traverses, the camera angle moves. So you can see the way the camera tracks the ball. So you can actually make the game feel faster. So you can see when I do a driven pass. Do you see how the game moves the camera? So it makes the game feel faster. So you see that? You see, look how quicker the game feels, smooth and responsive. But just like everything in real life, it's all about perception. It doesn't mean that one player is playing at a different speed. It just means you change the camera angle. And just to give you a bit of an example, because a lot of people keep talking about this nonsense, right? Actually, we'll come back to that in a second. The second camera angle, just to avoid getting into whole palaver, is tele broadcast. I would recommend with tele broadcast, I'd probably lean more towards tele. Keep the height on 20, but maybe zoom out the least as well. And what I meant by perception is, if I play on dynamic, as you can see, the camera angle is so zoomed in, you can see the game just feels much faster. I know this is so stupid. I can't believe I'm going over this, but there is some people that have genuinely be convinced that for some reason, I don't know how, but they think the game is faster for one person and slower for the other person. Absolutely not. Whoever tells you that is just speaking a load of baloney. It's all about perception. So yeah, I'd recommend co-op. Rush, to be honest, I think Rush Tactical is actually probably one of the better camera angles, and Rush Pro, especially like power shots. But you know what, Rush Broadcast probably the best overall. One thing you could actually adjust is the penalty area zoom. Basically, when the ball goes into the penalty area, you can actually adjust the zoom. Now, this can actually be beneficial. So let's say, for example, like here, I put the zoom to 20. This could be, so let's say, for example, you're like, you know what, Neil, I like, because like, let's say when you're defending, right? You're defending in a situation. I'm going to let my opponent go back here. Sometimes you can argue you want to have that top-down view, but sometimes when you're in that final third, you may want that better left stick dribbling. But do you see, for example, like here, see how the camera angle zooms in a little bit and you see it zooms out just there? So if you really want to, and you want to have that more zoomed in approach, you can increase the penalty area zoom. I personally don't do it because I still think it adjusts the perception. The ball tracking speed, you can leave it on 10, but I feel like, in fact, the slower this is, the better you play. And penalty area zoom, the only downside is sometimes the zoom perception, it can change your aim, so that's why I don't recommend it. And of course, turn power shot zoom off. But that is basically everything in a nutshell. If you want to see an actual comparison and see how you can see more on co-op camera angle, the real benefits of camera angles, I got a video on my Patreon series where I go over every single camera angle and I explain the differences. That's the best camera angle settings. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Take it easy and catch you next time. Don't forget, it doesn't matter. I would say, look, you can use tele broadcast or co-op. My best advice is just zoom out so you can see most of the pitch. Catch you next time. Peace out.